Friends, this is a strange, hard year, and these are strange times at Reservoir Church, too. Delightful sometimes, but strange times. I've given blood in this sanctuary 3 times this year. We've been repurposing our campus, repurposing parts of our budget even, too, to see how we can serve our community as actively as possible during this season. But when I walk around this sanctuary, I also think of all the hours spent together as a faith community, with this as kind of the hub, the center of our space. I think of all the people, some of them dear friends now, who stepped in through those doors tepidly at first, wondering if it was going to be too strange to enter into a church, if it was going to be safe to return to church. But by the end of a service here, walking out thinking, I can do this. Like this would be a good place to explore faith again. I think of all the warmth in the space, the drinking coffee, the eating bagels, the shaking hands, the hugs that we share here. I think of all the hours, gathering to hear a little teaching, but really the point of which I think about how it is that we want to live, to gather our minds spiritually and practically and try to find something in the space that's going to help us live well the rest of our lives out in the world. I think of all the hours, praying, singing, just sitting in stillness in this space, the peace we found here, the faith that is deepened here, the love and connection to an unseen God and to a very seen and visible community that we forged here. I think of the weddings, the funerals, the baptisms, the babies being dedicated. Gosh, I'd be lying if I said, my God, I miss all that dearly. I really can't wait till sometime in 2021 when we are doing all that in some form again together in this space. Meanwhile, though, it seems like this year is an opportunity to rediscover not just what this space can be, but to rediscover what all of church can be. I think one of the things that's happening this year is that we're rediscovering what church really means. Reservoir Church invites everyone without exception to discover the love of Jesus, the gift of community, and the joy of living. And we've been reminded again this year that much as we love this beautiful campus we're on, there is no mention of buildings in any of what we're about. And so we've begun to rediscover this year that community and experience of God's love and the possibility of joy and peace and the other things we want in a good life, like those, we don't lose those when we lose the ability to worship together. I've been so inspired by the different ways that I've seen people throughout the Reservoir family showing up for one another, showing up for community. In my own community group that meets online on Saturday mornings, we have a real-life hero in our midst. We have someone who is working in Boston amongst that city's unhoused population, and we've seen our community group show up to support her and surround her in that vital and really challenging work, buying her gift cards to share with her clients, sending her mail, offering prayers and encouragement. In another group, they've had a member with a really significant mental health crisis during the season, and others that had positive COVID tests. And to watch them showing up as friends, and really more than friends, almost like family for one another, it's been incredibly inspiring. It's been beautiful in a really hard year to see the Reservoir community showing up for their broader communities where they live and work in powerful ways as well. I've seen a dear friend of mine from Reservoir run an inspiring race for city council in her community, trying to restore different levels of access and equity to service and politics where she lives. Reservoir has been really active with Greater Boston Interfaith around this city to fight together for the kind of world that we see as possible and the kind of communities that we want to live in, whether it be in advocating on the State House for police reform, whether in this year of renewed urgency around Black Lives Mattering, showing up in their local community, showing up in Massachusetts to pass laws, to see practices advance, to see change happen where we live. It's been incredibly inspiring to see you all rediscovering what kind of community is possible when we can't worship together and we can't be together face to face all that often. We found people rediscovering new ways to access faith, to access their experience of the love of God as well. I really like our in-person worship services, but boy, our online church has been a new delight as well. We've seen folks from around our community that have transplanted to new cities, that live in New York, that live throughout the South, reconnect with us in worship again. We've seen people connect with this faith community in worship for the first time ever. People who have never been here to this building, getting involved in worship online. We've seen friends from India, from Jordan, able to be part of what's really a unique worshiping community, right? I don't know how many places there are that are really spiritually vibrant, that are radically inclusive, that are practical, that exist to connect with deep faith and also a more just and beautiful world together. But we see people drawn to worship and life in this community from all kinds of places that, maybe couldn't have done that if we were only operating here on Ringe Avenue in Cambridge, Mass. We see inspiring experiments and trying to access faith in all kinds of areas of life. Some members of our staff set up these meditation stations on the grass right nearby so that people can stop in the midst of their day, whether they're part of this church or just live around the neighborhood, and take a moment to breathe and pause and think about their life and the good and bad that's happening there and where they're finding love, courage, faith, the things that a Christian might call fruits of the Spirit, fruits of God's presence in their life. And we had this beautiful moment where our mail carrier the other day, stopped in the midst of her round in front of a inspiring picture with some words of reflection. She stopped in her work, took a moment, gathered her thoughts, found some peace, found some direction, and kind of went on her day. I was like, wow, that is prayer, right? To not need to, just sit in a sanctuary for an hour singing worship songs, but right in the middle of a busy day to be able to pause, gather your thoughts, connect with the divine, and find a deeper level of peace, courage, and love to carry forward and do life the way you've got to do it that day. Don't misunderstand me. This is a hard, horrible year. None of us wished for the kind of year we're living. And yet, it's been our experience already that it's possible still to find joy and redemption in this year. And we're encouraging us all to stay on this journey as summer moves into fall and as this year and season continues, to seem to rediscover what church can be when it's not all about the building anymore, but it's about the love of God, the gift of community, the joy of living wherever we are, wherever we go.